So here were the limitations. One is they had to use Rudolph, obviously. Okay. They also had to use their creative discipline. So whatever it is that they do as a creative person, we contacted them and said, hey, can you do that thing for us? And most of them said yes. Some said no. We'll get them next year. The other limitations are they had their presentation is divided into 2 parts. The first 10 slides is the story. So this whole thing is not the Rudolph story, it's just the first 10 slides. The second 10 slides are their process. So they're going to tell you how they solved this problem, which is the part that I was most excited about. Because as a teacher, I really like seeing students work through a problem. And I think as creative people, you are going to learn quite a bit from seeing how these people solved this problem. It also gave them only half of the time to make something, so they were more likely to say yes. So the Rudolph story is 3.5 minutes, and then the whole thing is 6 minutes and 40 seconds. The last limitations are, they had 4 slides that they had to cover. The first one is a title slide. The 4th slide had to have Santa on it. The 7th slide had to have all the other reindeer, and the 10th slide has to have Rudolph and his nose shining. So that's what we told them. All 10 of these presentations came together sort of on their own, and they're all brilliant. I'm just really excited about what's about to happen. So, did I cover everything, Jake? Bingo. Yeah, Jake says bingo. Okay. Where's Doug?
What?
There he is. Okay, so I don't know anything about Doug, but I've been promised that he's a really cool guy by Tim Guthrie. So, Tim, this is on you. Okay, so, known for developing experimental performance pieces that push the boundaries of audience expectation and decorum, his work has been shown at various venues in and around Omaha. In 2008, he won an Omaha Arts and Entertainment Award for East of 72nd, disrupting the Omaha landscape in 6 acts. That sounds pretty cool. He proudly calls Omaha home. Doug Hayko.
One was a psychopath. The other one, a depressive. One influenced by sadism, the other by revenge. One born in Wichita, Kansas, relocating often. His father was a U.S. Air Force transport pilot. His mother was a homemaker. The other was born in Lakewood, Colorado. His parents attended Lutheran church with their children, and he and his older brother Byron attended confirmation classes in accordance with the Lutheran tradition. They were active in school play productions and were part of AV Club. They were very unpopular students and targets of bullying. Bullying was described as rampant at the school. They were constantly picked on. A cup of fecal matter was thrown at them. People surrounded them in the commons and squirted ketchup packets all over them, laughing at them, calling them faggots. That happened while teachers watched. They couldn't fight back. They wore the ketchup all day and went home covered in it. A lot of tension in the school came from the class above. There were people fearful of walking by a table where you knew you didn't belong. In one really horrible incident, seniors pelted him with ketchup-covered tampons in the commons, and he told his mother that it was the worst day of his life. 1999 journal entry. I hate you people for leaving me out of so many fun things. And no, don't say, well, that's your fault. Because it isn't. You people had my phone number, and I asked and all, but no. You don't let that weird-looking kid come along. Their blogs openly espoused hatred for the people of their neighborhood and the world in general. When the pair began experimenting with pipe bombs, they posted the results of explosions online. 1999 journal entry. You've been giving us shit for years. You're fucking gonna pay for this shit. We don't give a shit because we're gonna die doing it. They both displayed themes of violence in their creative writing projects for school. One teacher wrote on a paper, "Yours is a unique approach and your writing works in a gruesome way. Good details and mood setting." They were the two American high school seniors who brutally killed 13 people and injured 24 others. The two then committed suicide in the library, where they had killed 10 of their victims. Since then, in general, a touchstone, if you will, bullying has been more closely linked to high school violence. Bullying has been more closely linked to high school violence. All right, how did I get here? Performance art and all of those performance artists out there. Not many of us hang around in the Omaha area, but one of my approaches was to really dissect the topic, tear it apart, flip it on its head, really explore it. So I started asking myself this question, what is this story about? What's the message? So I started asking people, one-on-one, no Facebook sort of inquiries, but really just asking people what the message was about. I got all sorts of stuff. I asked 75 people, and it was this idea of difference. And so I started exploring differences. Differences that had to do with outward appearance, kind of physical things that you can see, sex, race, deformity or size or height. I started then thinking about difference in terms of gay, straight, genetics, psychology. There's these things that sort of differentiate and separate people from, I guess, what would be termed normal. And normal was always straight white male, as I was starting to explore these sort of thoughts. Then I started looking at the bullying aspects, because I did get some survey results that were oriented toward this idea that bullying was the message of the story. And I was kind of taken aback by that, because I was like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a bullying story? It didn't make sense to me, so I started looking at bullies and the bullied. And then I also started looking at things that were sort of imposed upon as sort of differentiators. This idea that the straight white male has a problem and can be marketed to sell. Scarlet letter, registered sex offender, what is that, pit bull owner. So I had all this stuff that was sort of floating around in my head about this idea of differences and how did that sort of fix or meld with the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer story. And was looking at the original story as well, and I thought maybe I could have plants in the audience that could tell their sort of differentiated story. So I went back to a piece I did in 2005, which is an adaptation of Anton Chekhov's Cherry Orchard, and I had laid out all of these sort of visual and auditory layers that would then tell me, you know, I'll have one person come up and talk about the history of their struggle and race, and someone else with the LGBT. But then this green bar kept calling to me, this bullying piece. You know, we have difference, the value of differences. It's okay to be yourself. To thy own self be true. This bullying thing kept calling to me, and I wanted to look at a way that I could really connect this story to that idea of bullying. And before I sent my slides over, I came across this site where they offered a course in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and bullying. So it's like a real thing. But I wanted to thank also Matthew and Jackson for helping me out, being my